Burning Questions.
Yeah!
Howdy. I'm James Victoria, everyone's favorite designer, and this is the one and only Burning Questions. Today we've got a question from Randy. I don't know what part of the world it's from. This question comes from, it could be Azerbaijan or it could be Boston. Randy doesn't tell us. But Randy writes in with a very common question. I think something that we all suffer from. He says, I put a lot of time, thought, and decision making into my designs. I make objective choices about what to put in and what to leave out. Nothing is arbitrary. However, it seems like clients seek me out for my expertise and my knowledge, only then to try to undo everything I create. I just don't get it. This has been a real downside to my design career. It's been very frustrating. I wonder if I should have been more of a fine artist than a client-based designer. Perhaps that would better suit my disposition and values. Cheers, Randy. Randy, you know, to go to fine arts is even a harder slog than graphic design. If you want to do it, go for it. But here, listen to this. I got allergies going on here, so I'm messing with my nose a lot. I put out a tweet this week, and it said, if you're a designer or an artist, you're a fighter. There's really no other way. You have to love the struggle. People loved it. One guy wrote back and said, or maybe design can just be a job. You know, you are not your work, blah, blah, blah. Nothing is black and white, Randy, right? There's a wide spectrum. Yes, design can just be a job, and you can get paid for it and walk away. And quite frankly, the supermarket and the landfills are full of that shit. Quite frankly. You know, work from people who don't care. This sounds perfectly boring and frustrating to me. I mean, if it's going to be like that, then I would get out of the business completely, because there are easier and less painful ways to make a living than in graphic design. Call yourself a designer and then, you know, do shit you don't care about. Or you can aspire to make work that matters, is what we talk about here in Burning Questions, right? But then, Randy, you know, client education, dealing with clients, you know, that's the hard part. Or, you know, then if you want to do good work, you know, my friend Pierre Bernard used to say, to do creative work, we need a creative designer, a creative client. He also said a creative printer, or now would be a creative web designer or something, and a creative audience. And to have those things aligned is also is very difficult. You know, listen, Randy, I was at a dinner a bunch of years ago with Peter Harrison, designer from Pentagram. Smart, talented guy. So, and he told me the story. He had just come back from a very similar situation. He was at the dinner and he was saying, you know, I worked hard and lovingly to create. He was creating a logo and identity project, and he said, to create the most perfect, pared down, simple, beautiful object, little character. He says, and clients have this innate ability to go in with the tiniest pair of scissors and snip its balls off. You know, it's like, hey, you know, not everybody wins. We don't all win. We don't want all win all the time. You know, I recently designed a masthead for one of my clients. Did a crazy thing. I was like, really? You want to do that? And they said, yeah. So I redesigned this masthead for them. I ran for 3 issues. And then I went to the grocery store. I go in the grocery store. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get this, you know, the next one and see what it looks like. And I go and I see the magazine. I'm like, huh? What? You know, they ran it for 3 issues. Hardly a good test. You know, the thing is about our work is, you know, once it's up for a while, if it run for 6 issues, it would have been accepted as the norm and people would have loved it. And then people would have written in when it was gone. Hey, whatever happened to that beautiful masthead? It's the way it works, Randy. You don't always win. And I think that's why designers have so many conferences and dinners and books and stuff because we seek out opportunities to pat each other on the back and go, "You got one through, good job." Listen, I'm of the school that if I'm not making my client nervous, then I'm not doing my job. If I'm not putting something across the table that makes me nervous, I'm not doing my job. And Randy, I don't know how you present it to the client. I don't know how you talk to the client. I don't know the relationship. I don't know who the client is. I don't know if it's the right client for you to try to do good work, right? You know, I was talking about this with my wife, and Laura reminded me that there's something that I always teach, and it was this. It said, there are jobs you do for God, and there are jobs you do for money. And I approach everything as a God job. I approach everything as an opportunity to do great work, to put something out in the marketplace that hasn't been there before, to invent. And when it becomes clear that it's actually a money job, you know, like it's not working, then I get it done and get paid. Right? So I believe that there are opportunities to do God jobs and there are opportunities to just get paid and get it done, right? You know, the thing is, Randy, we work hard on these things. At the end of the day, you have to go away happy. I know designers who take this stuff to heart will get ulcers, will just become known as fighters. And I like fighters, but I don't like fighters when they make everybody else around them miserable, right? So, at the end of the day, we have to go back home happy, and we have to learn to celebrate our victories. Yes. We have to learn to celebrate our defeats. That's more important. Because that's what Burning Questions is all about, isn't it? Burning Questions is all about adjusting your attitude and your perspective to try to have an opinion, try to put it in your work, try to make work that matters. But at the end of the day, we go home happy. Right? We want to accept defeat graciously and move on with our lives. So, hey, Randy, go get him, Tiger. Go get him sometimes. Choose your battles. They're not all battles. They're not all worthy. You know, you are now a samurai, and everybody wants you in your battle. They're not all your battles. Choose your battle well. Burning Questions, make work that matters, have an opinion, and love something other than yourself. Love something other than your work. Don't fall in love with your work. And, hey, listen, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to jamesvictory.com. Do it right now. There's like a button up in the corner, or go to jamesvictory.com, and in the upper left, right-hand corner, there's a little subscribe button. Hit that button. We've got stuff coming up that you're going to want to be involved in. We have got, in the next couple of weeks, I'm not supposed to say anything right now, but it's just between you and me. We're rolling out our first webinar. Gonna film it in the shed, for crying out loud. Rolling out our first webinar, 2 hours, and we're going to talk about your favorite subject and my favorite subject. We're going to talk about fear. We're going to talk about fear of our own creativity, fear of money, fear of ourselves. You're going to want to be there. It's about how to be yourself, and that self is a badass. You guys are awesome. Thanks for watching Burning Questions. Subscribe today and don't miss out on the webinar. This is James Victory. It's a beautiful morning. Have a nice day. Adios. Bye-bye.